This is the Unit 10 assessment. Be sure to put your name at the top, show all your work, and make sure your answer document matches your answer choices on the test. Remember that you can pause and replay any of these questions as many times as you need. I'm going to encourage you on this test to really take your time and listen to what the question is asking and really read what each graph is telling you. So let's get started. Number 1, the dot plot below shows the number of dog training classes 30 different people attended. Number of dog training classes each person attended. Number of dog training classes, dot equals 1 person. What fraction of the people attended 1 or 4 dog training classes? A, 1/10, B, 1/6, C, 13/30, D, 1/2. Question 2. Peter conducted a survey to find the number of siblings that some 5th graders have. The table below shows the results of his survey. Siblings. Number of 5th graders. Number of siblings for each. Which of the following represents the data in the table? Bar graph F, frequency table G, bar graph H, frequency table J. Question 3. The students in a cooking class poured water into pans for boiling macaroni. The students used different amounts of water. The list below shows the amount in liters of water that each student used. Here's the different amounts of water. Which graph represents this data? Stem and leaf plot A, dot plot B, stem and leaf plot C, dot plot D. Question 4. The owner of Pedro's Pizza collected data on the types of pizza that was sold at his 2 restaurant locations on one day. The table below shows the results of this data. Pizza sold in June. Restaurant, North location, South location, cheese, pepperoni, supreme, Canadian bacon. Which bar graph represents the data in the table? Bar graph F, bar graph G, bar graph H, or J, not here. Question 5. Brenda wanted to see if there was a relationship between the distance from her city to other cities and the temperatures in those other cities. At 10 a.m. yesterday, she recorded the temperatures of 5 cities and the distances between those cities and her city as shown in the table below. Temperature and distances of cities. City. Distance to my city. Temperature. A, B, C, D, E. Which graph represents the data in the table? Yes, I apologize that these graphs are so blurry. Scatter plot A, scatter plot B, scatter plot C, or scatter plot D. Question 6. As part of Mark's job at the grocery store, he has to pack and weigh apples. The table below shows different numbers of apples and their weights. Apples. Number of apples in bag. Weight. Which scatter plot represents the data in the table? Scatter plot F, scatter plot G, scatter plot H, scatter plot J. Question 7. The table below shows the number of laps in a swimming pool that people of different ages were able to complete. Number of laps. Age. Number of laps. Ordered pair of related data. Which scatter plot represents the data in the table? Scatter plot A, scatter plot B, scatter plot C, scatter plot D. Question 8. The scatter plot shows the ages and heights of 6 players on a youth baseball team. Age in years, height in meters. Which table of data represents the same data? Table F, Table G, Table H, Table J. Be sure to look at the tables on your actual test. Those tables have been corrected. These tables are not the same. But Table F, Table G, Table H, or Table J, which one of those tables represents the data from the scatter plot? Question 9. The scatter plot below shows the number of pencils used by different numbers of students during a school year. Pencils. Number of students. Number of pencils used. Which of the following best represents the number of students who used exactly twice the number of pencils as the amount used by 20 students? Listen to that question again. Which of the following best represents the number of students who used exactly twice the number of pencils as the amount used by 20 students? A. 20 students. B. 40 students. C. 35 students. D. 10 students. Question 10. Selma recorded the amount of water in ounces that she drank each day during the last 20 days. Her results are shown in the stem and leaf plot below. Amount of water Selma drank each day. Selma decided to record 5 more days with water amounts of 16.75, 17, 17, 17.5, and 18.5 ounces. With the additional 5 days included, what amount of water did Selma drink on 1/5 of the days? Listen to that question one more time. With the additional 5 days included, what amount of water did Selma drink on 1/5 of the days? F. 16.5 ounces. G. 18.0 ounces. H. 17.5 ounces. J. 17.0 ounces. Question 11. Tapinsha Elementary collected data to determine how the grade 5 students traveled to school and home from school. The data is shown in the graph below. Grade 5 students, transportation to and from school. Type of transportation, car, walk, bus. Number of students, to school, home from school. If the data represents the same number of students traveling to school as traveling home, which bar represents the number of students who walk home from school? Listen to that question again. If the data represents the same number of students traveling to school as traveling home, which bar represents the number of students who walk home from school? Bar A, bar B, bar C, bar D. Question 12. The scatter plot below shows the grades 7 students received on their math exam and the number of hours each student studied the week before the exam. Math exam grades, number of hours, grade. Based on the scatter plot, which statement is not true? F. The difference in grades between the students that studied 2 hours and the students that studied 6 hours was 40 points. G. The difference in grades between the student that studied 5 hours and the student that studied 1 hour was 40 points. H. The difference in grades between the student that studied 4 hours and the student that studied 3 hours was 15 points. J. The difference in grades between the student that studied 6 hours and the student that studied 3 hours was 25 points. That concludes the Unit 10 assessment. Remember, you may go back and replay any of these questions. I hope you've shown your work and taken your time. It's a good idea to double check your work and make sure that you transfer your answers to your answer document correctly. If you have any questions, make sure to raise your hand. The end.